Now loading podcast, period.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's, stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and I can't speak English, and today I am joined, as always, by my co-host, David.
You waited a specific amount of time to try to catch your breath, and you still managed to F it up. Congratulations.
It's one of my many talents.
What's
I'm
up,
too
guys?
Good. Oh, boy. Man, if that doesn't tell you the tone of this show, I don't know what will. Anyway, today we are doing a little bit of a regular episode. We did say that we were going to talk about the Tomorrow War. We still are, but we're not making that the main focus of the episode because we didn't think it was a big enough movie to do a whole episode on. It's good, and we'll get more into it once we actually talk about it, but for now, it's just relegated to a discussion topic. So, if you hate us, you hate us, whatever. The main story, and one which, well, not the main story, but at least the first story that we've got this episode, and the one that affects our actual podcast production, interestingly enough, has to do with an open source software that more than likely you have used at one point or another because it's so prevalent and has been in the ether for like so long. Audacity recently got acquired by Muse software or something like that. Muse something or other. I believe they're a Russian-based company, and people are not happy. People being a lot of people, and me, because it's definitely not. It's not good, the things that they are trying to do, and in this new update that they're planning on pushing out. So for their new update, I don't remember the update version or whatever, but Audacity will collect IP addresses, OS information, CPU, and anything else that falls under error codes, messages / crash reports, as well as data necessary for law enforcement litigation and authorities' requests. In addition, they can share this data with their staff and law enforcement, but also our auditors, advisors, legal representatives, and other similar agents and potential buyers, which basically means anyone that asks for it and that we like. Yeah. That doesn't sound good.
No.
So they've actually, on their GitHub, they've released a very, it's not a super big response to everything that's going on. They say that it's not necessarily going to be as bad anymore, but David and I have already been paying for Audition because of another project that we've hinted at for going on a year now and is still not out yet, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, but we have this. We've had access to it. We just haven't been using it for recording. And now there's not really any reason not to. Audacity kind of forced our hand with this. So
A little bit.
Yeah, they say that they're dropping the telemetry features. Even they were opt-in telemetry features, by the way, that were using Google and Yandex as third-party hosts, but they're dropping them supposedly. and they will self-host all collected data from error reporting and check for updates, removing any need for Google or Yandex analytics. I'm sure that that's true, but at the same time, right? Who's to say, even though this is an open source software with everything freely visible to everybody at this point, who's to say that they don't just, you know, try something like this again in the future, 6 months down the line once everybody's forgotten about it and they just don't put it in the patch notes this time. You know? I mean,
I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. The good thing about it, unlike some things in life, we can do something about this.
yeah.
And it's simply just not use it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. So,
And there are, for those of you who are in the same place that we are, where you don't want to use it, even though they've said that they're not going to do anything with it anymore. There are other alternatives out there. Like David and I said, we use Audition because we've been paying for it. There's also Reaper, which is technically not free, but it's also paid for in the same way that WinRAR is. So you've got that infinite, like, free trial, basically, with a little nag message every time you open up the program. And I'm sure there's a few other open source audio editors out there, or at least free to use audio editors out there that are other than Audacity. It sucks because Audacity is a really easy to use, a really great tool. It's very self-explanatory. And now if you want to try and do something, with somebody else not here, like, with you, and you have to set them up or try to get them to use another program, the setup process might not be as easy. Audacity was basically plug and play. You install it, you select their microphone, which is probably the biggest pain point in actually using the software. And then that's it. There's a big red record button, which everybody knows what that means at this point. And you're off to the races.
yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy, pretty reliable. There was a few instances where things might go wrong, but other than that, it was pretty solid. So it's a little disappointing. I wish they hadn't done something like this. They tried to backpedal. I don't know if it was a backpedal that was, a cave to public outcry,
Mm-hmm.
or if it was a re-explanation of things the way it should have been explained to begin with, and they just tried to PR spin it the way it should have been the first time.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think
it's hard
PR
to
spin.
say.
I think it's backlash response.
Yeah. It might be a little bit of both, honestly. But even still, I think this is one of those better safe than sorry situations,
Yep.
So, yeah, that's where we're at. Like I said, it sucks because it's very easy to use, very user friendly, and it's been out there forever, so it's very reliable as far as, like, the stability goes. But I mean, this company that bought Audacity decided that they were just gonna, do whatever they wanted to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. So, oh well, sucks to suck.
That's what happens when all the good stuff ends up getting bought by somebody else. Somebody gets the greedy little hands on it and it's ruined, which is why we need Discord to stay independent.
Yep.
Without Microsoft getting a hold of them, because then we're really screwed.
Yeah. We don't need another
Skype 2.0.
Yeah. God. As if Skype wasn't already bad enough. All right. What'd you bring, broski?
Okay, so an interesting little topic that I found while just watching the morning news the other morning. The Tennessee Attorney General and 36 total prosecutors across the U.S. have instigated antitrust lawsuits against Google over its Google Play Store. So they have basically said that Google is abusing its power over the App Store and over app developers through the Play Store. And it's the fourth antitrust lawsuit lodged against the company by U.S. government enforcers in this last year. So, we might be going back to the heydays of the 90s and breaking up everybody, going after Microsoft for the crap that they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
AT&T got busted up into the baby bells, and everything's slowly consolidated again over the years. I think it's time that antitrust starts getting enforced pretty heavily again, because some of these app stores and some of this stuff has gotten pretty bad. I kind of thought, I mean, you can't really point fingers at Apple for their crap without also saying something about Google.
Yeah.
I kind of thought they were a little bit safer in the fact that you can sideload APKs and other things into the Android operating system. You're not forced to use the Play Store,
Mm-hmm.
but
It is highly
everybody's
recommended.
consensus it is basically forced. It's
Yeah.
really the only way to do it. So it might be time to go after everybody. So
Well, see, even your side loading argument now there. So I read that Google is now thinking of distributing an app in like an AAP, I think like an Android app package or something like that, instead of an APK.
Mm-hmm.
And their spin on it is that the you'll only have to download the parts that you need for your specific app. So if there's like extra code in there to make it work on a Chromebook, or extra code to make it work on a specific device or whatever like that, or extra code for other languages, you're only going to download the code that you need for your device. However, the downside with this is that you can't sideload the app anymore. You can
Great.
only get it from the Play Store. That's it.
Good. Great. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So the suit was filed in the Northern District of California on Wednesday, and includes states like California, Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, New York, North Carolina, Tennessee's in there. It's the District of Columbia and 36 other states. It's a bipartisan effort too. They've got attorneys prosecuting this from both sides of the aisle. So
Mm-hmm.
it's time. Antitrust took a back seat all through the 2000s, and everybody just merged into the big conglomerates that everything is now, and it's time to start breaking it up. Big business has gotten too big.
Yep. Yep. I would say I agree. All right. So let's get back away from some dystopian news, at least for a little bit. So I can almost guarantee you that we talked about this, or at least we thought about talking about it on the podcast, because I remember. I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but I know
I
we
feel
were
like we
debating it.
did.
Anyway, April 2021, Super Mario Brothers 1, I think it was a box copy of it, sold for, let's see, $660,000, which is crazy, ridiculous. You think that's crazy? Well, guess what? It was just topped. Not even what, 3-4 months later, something like that,
Yep.
by a boxed copy of The Legend of Zelda, like the NES version. It's the first printing, and it went for $870,000. 870. Disgusting.
It's time to go to the future and find out what fad is going to be like this 30 years from now. And it's time that we go get our sealed, boxed edition, whatever it's going to be, and set that crap in a vault. And then 30 years later, we will literally be millionaires.
The thing is, right? It's so hard to figure out what's gonna be like that. I mean, I'm sure part of it is nostalgia, right? Yes. I mean, people have fond memories of The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros. And everything, and it's super cool to have this part of, or a part of gaming history. But I think that's part of what makes it, or at least what seems to make it so expensive, because God knows nothing should be selling for $870,000, but here we are. Anyway, I don't think we're going to have something like this again, right? Because even, let's see, this was 1987 that came out. So you're looking at 97, 07, 2017, a little bit over 30 years later.
34 years.
So if you think, like, say, I don't know, a pristine copy of Spider-Man PS4 or something like that, a game that almost everybody agrees is fantastic, is that going to be worth as much as this is? Because 30 years down the line, there's going to be the nostalgia factor, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to have the same impact on, like, gaming history as this did.
No.
And maybe even if you go for something like Halo, like if you had a mint box copy of the original Xbox Halo game just sitting in your attic for 30 years, would that go for anywhere near the amount that this does?
I wonder if it's going to even be possible just on the hardware side of things. Those systems have gotten pretty old, but they were also basic rudimentary things that really didn't fail. Whereas today's stuff is so planned obsolescence that you might not be able to run Halo in 30 years. Because
the thing is,
Xbox.
The thing is, if you're buying a box copy of a game, you're not going to
play it. And you're not going.
You're going to put it on a shelf and say, "I paid $900,000 for this, and now it's sitting here on my shelf. Isn't that so cool?"
But why? That's the part I don't understand.
I can understand part of it. I mean, it's cool to have this early copy of this video game that was groundbreaking and basically saved the video game industry, right? But that's the thing. Nothing is going to have that level of, like, value anymore. And like I said, even like a box or a completely factory fresh copy of Halo, if you had it sitting in your closet for 30 years, I don't think that would be worth nearly as much as this is.
Well,
because it doesn't necessarily have the history behind it. It was groundbreaking for its time. Like, there was not an FPS like Halo before Halo. You could argue that Half-Life was pretty close, but I mean, Halo was massive.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. We'll just have to wait
So,
and see.
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to think about. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Oh my god. Okay. What do we have next?
Alright, so you know how Windows 7 was supposed to go end of life and they wasn't going to update anything anymore?
Yeah, sure.
Well, Microsoft, in their infinite wisdom, actually had to pull a patch, well, put out a patch for something that is so bad. It is called the Print Nightmare vulnerability.
Print
And
Nightmare. Okay,
yeah,
jeez.
It stems from bugs in the Windows Print Spooler, which provides printing functionality inside local networks. A proof of concept exploit code was publicly released and then pulled back, but not before others had copied it. So it basically just it screws everything up.
Of course.
Microsoft patched it and then it didn't fix it. So great. So now this thing that they supposedly patched is no longer patched.
That makes
So
sense.
just don't get online anymore, guys. I guess that's all you can do.
Yep.
Stupid. You're not safe.
Gotta love Microsoft. How do you send out a patch that doesn't work? Like, for real?
I don't know.
Oh man. Okay.
So why is it a big deal? Because attackers can exploit it remotely when print capabilities are exposed to the internet. A lot of things will ask you to print basically straight offline. You don't even have to download things anymore. Taxes come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty legit reason to print from a website versus, I mean, you should probably have that downloaded anyways, but I'm sure there's other things too. Other financial record keeping software like, TurboTax or QuickBooks or something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. So, yay.
Good job. Good job, Microsoft.
You idiots. Good job.
All right. Now we get to talk about the quote-unquote Switch Pro update, which is not actually a Switch Pro because there's like literally no changes to it. So, for those of you with a Nintendo Switch, and for those of you who could have potentially wanted to update it in the near future, this is not the update for you because there's literally no reason to get it. It has an OLED screen instead of your regular. I don't even know what type of screen the Switch ships with. I assume it's I don't think it's IPS. What's the other one? It's T something. PPS?
No. I don't remember.
Anyway, it was on the tip of my tongue too. Anyway, there's no reason to get this. There's an OLED screen, and they added an Ethernet jack, but that is it. After how many years of the Switch being on the market? It's what let's see. Nintendo Switch US release date. March 3rd, 2017. So it's been on the market for about 3 years now. Which, in most terms, would usually mean that you're going to get a refresh sometime soon. Because, 3-4 years after the Xbox One launched, you got the Xbox One S. And then 3-4 years after that, you had the Xbox One X. Which some would say isn't really a revision. It's more of like an upgrade. But even still, this is not the Nintendo Switch Pro that people were wanting. People were wanting 4K support. They were wanting 60 FPS a lot of the time, if not all the time. New chips, new everything. And I'm sure an OLED screen was on the list, but not just an OLED screen. Like, come on, really?
Why, though? We're talking about a 7-inch screen. Why do we need 4K? You're not going to be able to tell.
Not 4K on the screen. 4K output to the TV. It only does 1080p right now.
Put it in the dock. Why couldn't they put more freaking... Ugh.
I don't know.
Why? Because
I don't know.
It's Nintendo.
Yes, that's why.
And Nintendo does things like this.
And people are going to buy it.
Dock.
People are going to buy it. That's the thing, right? People are going to buy it. They're going to be like, oh, it's this new thing that Nintendo released. I'm going to drop $300-$400 on it because my old Switch is no longer good enough. Like, what? How does that make sense?
Sell $100 dock with the upgrade. Keep the old Switch compatible. Keep the new Switch compatible. Put your dang OLED screen on it if you want. Who gives a rat's ass anyways about a freaking OLED screen on a 7-inch tablet?
That's what I'm saying.
Can only do 720p. You're not going to be able to tell. Your resolution is too dang small.
I think that maybe it's for Netflix watching. I don't know, but you're certainly not going to see anything for it on the games.
The control that you would have to get those inky blacks anyways, in such the small space that you're going to have on a 7-inch screen is like, that's like top of the line, like $2,000-$3,000 Samsung and LG OLED local dimming zone, everything, like creme de la creme technology. You're not going to get that in a freaking $300 portable gaming tablet or however much the Switch is. It's not going to happen. So just put the hardware in the dock so people can hook it up to their TVs and make them happy. Stupid.
I don't get it.
This is why I don't have it. Because it never made sense to me. Why did the Switch why did it make sense to anybody? Unless you've got kids.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's a great portable...
It's $350 now for the new one, instead of just $3.
OLED screen added $50 and you're not even going to be able to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to notice? Whatever.
I think that marks the first time that we've ever crapped on Nintendo on this show.
One of these days we'll have to make a running list.
Yeah, for real.
See who we can badger next. Golly.
All right, what's next?
I don't even know anymore. OnePlus, or shall we call them? What do you think of this title, guys? This is exactly how I titled it in my notes. OnePlus is now, quote, 1-. OnePlus admits to throttling 300 popular apps with recent update. Latest smartphone OEM to be caught playing games with the device's power is OnePlus. We crapped on Apple when we found out that they did this. I know it wasn't on this podcast because that was well before this podcast existed, but I'm sure we've mentioned it since with their blessed battery. Oh my, your battery might not be able to keep your phone on, so we're going to have to throttle it so it doesn't randomly shut down. Have you ever had a phone randomly shut down at 30% because it took too much power?
Yeah, no.
But anyways, OnePlus demanding on whom you want to believe. It's depending, guys. I'm so mad I can't read right now. The company is either benchmark cheating or optimizing performance, but everyone, OnePlus included, seems to agree that OnePlus is taking control of app performance out of the hands of the users and deciding what is and what isn't allowed to run at maximum speed on the user's device.
That's something else. Like, for real. This is the whole Apple battery thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legit. It's almost exactly the same thing. We're gonna slow down your phone because your battery isn't very good anymore. We wouldn't want you to lose power faster. That's totally our motive. Not to think that, oh, you probably need a new phone. Oh no. Oh no. I don't. That is something. Like, for real.
This is ridiculous. So the story starts with a person in a non-tech whose name I can't pronounce, so I'm sorry. Ben can pronounce it if he wants. He recently did some digging into the behavior of a OnePlus 9 and found it dramatically throttled Chrome and other popular apps. At times, Chrome was only apparently limited to the Cortex A55 cores, ignoring the most powerful of the cores in the phone and the bulk of the phone's horsepower. The X1 and the A78 cores within the phone. Sometimes the performance tanked as much as 75 to 85% in Chrome. Chrome doesn't work very well on mobile as it is. It's power hungry as it is. And you're going to limit that thing and slow it down 85%?
I couldn't imagine.
It's going to take you 5 minutes to click order on whatever freaking pizza you're going to have that night or whatever it is. Like, come on. Stupid. Stupid. It's my device. Leave it the heck alone. I'm sick of this crap. They think they own it. They designed it. And we bought it.
That's ridiculous.
And what does that purchase entail? Does that purchase entail that it is not my hardware? Is that purchase just a license to use it? Is that what they're trying to say?
Maybe.
Is that the kind of Apple crap they're going to shove down people's throats?
I mean, would it surprise you?
No. So that's another company we've thrown to the sharks.
Mm-hmm. God love them. All right, let's move on to our discussion topic. We're going to talk about the Tomorrow War, the movie that dropped on Prime recently that we watched a trailer for, I don't know, about a month, maybe a month and a half ago, something like that.
Something like that.
Stars Chris Pratt, Yvonne Strahovski, J.K. Simmons, and a few other people that I'm sure you've heard of, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Basic synopsis. The world is stunned when a group of time travelers arrive from the year 2051 to deliver an urgent message. 30 years in the future, mankind is losing a global war against a deadly alien species. So, this movie kind of plays out a little differently than the trailers would have you believe, I guess. It's pretty interesting how everything is set up. It's set up to be like this big budget action film, which it is. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a lot of action in it, but there's like this whole B plot about Chris Pratt's character's. I don't even remember what his character's name is. Forrester, Dan Forrester.
Mm-hmm.
His whole relationship with his daughter, which I don't know, it was a little weird how they kind of put that in there. And his relationship with his father, and his relationship with his wife, apparently, which came out of the blue, for me at least. I don't know. It felt like an action movie trying to be like a family movie all at once, and I don't know if the B plot necessarily worked very well for me. I liked all of the action parts. The plot made sense to me, at least as much as time travel sci-fi can make sense to somebody. Uh, but the B plot was definitely a sticking point for me. I don't know how I feel about it quite yet. What do you think?
So as far as the movie goes, I like the action scenes within the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree, and maybe this is my fault. I guess I misinterpreted the trailer too. I thought the premise was that these guys were jumping back from the future to a year before the war started. I thought that's what they were trying to get at. They said and within 1 year's time. I thought that's when the war started. I guess what
Okay.
they meant was within 1 year's time, that's when we're going to be able to start transporting people back because their lifeboat explanation didn't quite make sense to me either. How they could only jump between the two specific points in time, albeit 30 something years apart. I don't know. It didn't quite make sense to me. Maybe
So
that's my fault. I must have misinterpreted.
so the 1 year thing was there was going to be 1 year as far as their projection goes until the extinction of the human race from the point that they came to the past.
Okay.
The lifeboat thing, as far as I can gather, the lifeboat thing works around a rudimentary wormhole, which they said in the movie. And I think maybe that wormhole only has a limited power, which is why they can only send people back 30 years. So it's like a rolling time thing. So you can't get back sent. You can't, when you get transported to the future, you can't get sent back to the exact point that you left because time had actually passed when you were there. So you had to go back 7 days later than you originally departed.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I got from it. I don't know if the science necessarily makes all that much sense, but that's that's what I got from it.
Okay.
So what did you think about the father daughter storyline thing that they had going on?
It didn't make a lot of sense to me,
See, yeah, that's what I
honestly.
thought.
Like,
He went to the future. It felt like the only problem with him going to the future was the fact that he was going to the future and might not make it back. Not that he was having marital problems or that he might have problems with his daughter in the future. I mean, we see that he has issues with his dad, which is somewhat understandable. I don't know if they ever explained what his issue was with his dad, other than he left or something like that when he was young. But they definitely didn't explain that he had marital problems or that those marital problems may lead to, you know, his daughter or his relationship with his daughter deteriorating as time went on. I didn't get that from before when he left. That information was all relayed secondhand by the daughter in the future.
the first few moments of the film provide some context with that. Specifically, the job opportunity that he did not get, which somewhat indicated that he was stuck at a quote dead end job in his life, and he didn't feel like his life was fulfilling the purpose that it could have.
Okay,
They
yeah.
alluded to it somewhat.
I
The
suppose I
issues
could
with the
see that.
daughter came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind
Like
of what I
it,
felt.
it seemed like they had a pretty solid relationship up until the point he left.
Mm-hmm.
I could see where his dead end job attitude would maybe deteriorate as time goes on, possibly. But I don't know. Maybe with the wife, but I don't believe with the daughter.
Yeah, me
It
neither.
seemed like that was a pretty solid relationship. So, whatever. But they did lay down some precedents for it.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
wasn't totally unforeseen. But it didn't make a whole lot of sense. The entire rudimentary way that they come up with, the volcano explanation and whatnot, like, really? A kid? A kid has the knowledge? I don't buy that for a second.
Well, okay, so let's think about it this way. Absolutely, somebody else in the world would have that knowledge, but they already took their theory to the general. So they're going about this on their own. They're using the resources that they have. And there's always the chance that this random kid wouldn't know anything about the volcano, right? But they can't go out of their way to try and find this definite volcano expert. So it's like, okay, let's ask this kid in my class that seems like he knows a lot about volcanoes. Maybe he knows, you know?
If you had the possibility of going back, I could buy that. But you didn't. So
Well,
the
you
serum
don't need it
only.
though.
Huh?
You don't need to go back. That was the thing. Like they knew that
But
they knew that
so
they
what I
couldn't go
was
back.
what I was going to get at though is why rush? You have all the time in the world. You have 30 years, so they think, because they don't exactly know where these things got to Earth, at least until later on when it's actually explained, and we'll get to that. What's the rush? You're not worried about trying to go back and save a future that only has like a couple of months before human extinction is inevitable. Go to the media. Yes, the general turned them down. Big deal. Go to the media. Go to public support. You've got all this time. You can come up with a better explanation than this little Rambo mission that they came up with.
I like your idea, but at the same time, right? There's always the possibility that you could be labeled as a crackpot. I mean, everybody
From what? The
everybody
war
knows
already exists. It's
everybody
not like you're
knows that
coming back from the future.
everybody knows that the aliens exist, but everybody also thinks that they landed in a spaceship in the future. So what reason would they have that to think that the aliens landed going on like 2000 years ago and are stuck in the ice, and that's the reason why nobody's heard of them up until 30 years in the future.
That's why I don't like this movie. The action is good. The whole plot makes no sense.
I can see your gripes with it, but it makes more sense to me, I guess, than it does to you. So,
No, it makes sense. It's just stupid.
I don't know. I like it. I like the plot, except for the B plot.
Is that not a B plot to you?
How's that a B plot? That's part of the main overarching plot.
The kid, the dad, and the daughter aren't all B plots to you?
The dad is part of the B plot, yes, but he's brought into the A plot. The A plot is the alien hunt. That's it.
Yeah. So what? Because the kid knows about the Millennium eruption, he's now part of the A plot?
What, the volcano kid? No, he doesn't go with
Yes.
them to fight the aliens. How is he part of the A plot?
Then how are you not mad at the plot?
What? How? Why would I be? Just
He's
because.
critical to them finding this information out.
So, what's your point?
It's a stupid plot.
Whatever.
It's a stupid plot.
Okay. What would you give this out of 5 then?
A 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yes, only because it's not that memorable, and honestly, I could have gone my entire life without watching it, and I wouldn't care.
I probably.
It's not like it's a great movie.
Yeah, no. I'm with you in that it's just an okay movie. I think it's better than you do, but I don't think it's like the best movie in the world, which is also why we relegated it to.
It's a bad movie. I'm saying it's a bad plot. I like the action. I like the hunt. I like kicking alien ass. I just hate how they got to that point.
There's a reason why we relegated it to a discussion topic. We'll just say that. I think I'd give it a 4. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It's fine. It's a fine like popcorn flick. If you want to throw something on and just not think about something for 2 hours or whatever, this is one of those movies where you can do that. It's not a thinking man's movie.
Sure. Okay, what do you think about the white spikes, though?
What about them?
Good, bad, effective, not effective? Maybe
so
leading to something else, maybe not.
I think that, well, I mean, considering the end of the movie, there's not going to be another Tomorrow War or whatever. There's
How do you
no
know?
way.
How do we know there's not another ship somewhere else?
Because they said they all came from Russia. And besides, you saw the size of that ship. It's conceivable that everything came from that one ship.
Does it mean there's not something somewhere else?
Yeah, maybe, but it's not going to happen. I don't see it happening anyway. I like the design of the white spikes. I think it's really cool the way that they have like I guess their own renewable ammo. The problem with them as the movie went on was that it kind of has like the Alien syndrome where in the original Alien, you've got this one nigh unstoppable beast that is there's basically no way you can defend against it. But in Aliens, they're not necessarily relegated to cannon fodder, but they're a lot easier to kill than they were made out to be in the original Alien. And maybe that comes down to stylistic choices between directors or whatever, or plot needs, but it kind of feels like the white spikes took the same path. They're introduced, they're up here in power. Nothing can touch them. We know the weaknesses. We know that if you shoot them in the neck or in the belly, they're dead, right? But the fact is, you have to shoot them in the neck or in the belly. And with the way that they're walking and running and everything, all that's basically protected. So they're nigh invincible.
For the most part, yeah.
But as the movie goes on, you can kind of see the cracks in the armor, as it were, right? Because, I mean, towards the end, one of them gets killed with a saw, which is cool, but does it really seem like the white spikes that we saw at the beginning of the movie and the white spikes at the end are really part of, like, the same species as far as toughness goes?
I wonder if there's a possibility that there is a small evolutionary change and or small behavioral change. They've run around for 3 years when we see them in the future. True. And they just woke up out of hibernation in the end. I wonder if there's a small difference there that could be attributed to that.
It could be. That could be. But even in the like future war, towards like the end when they were, when they were in like the city or whatever, and they actually got on a turret, they were going down pretty easily. You know, I mean, yeah, it's high caliber rounds that you're shooting out, but I don't know. It kind of feels the same way to me as the dichotomy between Alien and Alien 2.
I could see it. It's just, I think they didn't have to necessarily say that their weaknesses were the neck and the belly. I think they could have just left it as it was, and a good amount of bullets is going to kill them.
Yeah.
Just leave it to the sheer numbers game.
Maybe that was my issue with it, was they gave them a weakness, and it doesn't seem like the weaknesses were effectively used. Because, I mean, everybody's told that you have to shoot them in the neck or in the belly.
Mm-hmm.
And every time that somebody's shooting at them, they never seem to connect with the neck or the belly. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're right. If they didn't give them a weakness, maybe they would have seemed a lot more threatening overall.
I was just going to say it's a numbers game instead. Don't worry about whether or not they're invincible or not. Just think of it as a sheer numbers game. Look how many there were.
Yeah.
It was disgusting how many there were.
This is true.
Like, what are you going to do about that? I don't care how much guns you have. What are you going to do about... What was thousands of them that came crawling up out over that wall.
Oh, yeah.
Going for the oil rig and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous.
That was a crap ton. It was ridiculous.
Okay.
All right. So, we've got our trailers now. Let me bring that up. Paste them in the Discord real quick. So, we've got a selection of them here.
No, not this one again.
What?
Don't breathe.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be interesting. So, okay. So, did we, I know we didn't do it for the podcast, but did we do a vlog on Don't Breathe when we used to do those? I want to say we did, right?
Yes, we did.
So if you guys
thinking of the wrong movie.
Oh,
which
one were you thinking of?
I was thinking of freaking
Unfriended.
No, the silent movies, the new one that's coming out.
A Quiet Place
2.
Yeah,
the one where the we've seen a couple of the trailers for them.
Probably A Quiet Place.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
I didn't want to see another trailer for that.
No, this is Don't Breathe 2. Which, again, if you guys want to see our thoughts on that, I'll link the video in the description below if I remember to. If not, then you're SOL and you're just gonna have to live without it, because whatever. Anyway, Don't Breathe 2.
Failed. The gun is in my hand.
Sorry. I'll make it next time. You almost got me, didn't you, boy?
We had a lot of fun today. I could take her again next week.
No. Home safer. Shadow!
What do you want?
You're coming with us, kid.
Get the girl!
It's not me you need to be scared of, little girl, but the man standing next to you. Now, I don't know who he is, but I know who he's not. Should I tell her or you?
I forget how the original one ended. I know that one girl got away because he killed everybody else. But where did he get the kid? I thought that his little plan was foiled.
Don't remember.
I'm gonna look.
We'll have to watch it again.
That makes me want to watch it again. I remember how crazy that movie was. You see, it doesn't say anything about a kid. There was the girl that was pregnant in his basement, but she died during the movie. And there's nothing about any kids being left behind. So unless he got that kid from the girl that died, he must have kidnapped somebody. I don't know. This is one that I definitely want to see. I would see this in the theaters. I remember the first one being so scary. It was so good. It's probably one of my favorite horror movies that we saw in the theaters.
Yeah.
All right. What would you give it? What did you say?
Go see it in the theaters.
Okay. All right. Our next trailer is for Marvel's What If.
Time. Reality. It's changeable.
Where you want to be? That's the question, isn't it?
Every universe is different. Each one unique.
Slow down a little bit. There's a few people in the room that don't understand. Not me, I get it.
Who are you?
The name's Captain Carter.
Scheiße! I am the Watcher. I observe all that transpires here. But I do not, cannot, will not interfere.
So I want to be honest, when I first heard about this, I did not think that it was going to be anything substantial. But if we're talking about exploring the multiverse, I am down with that. This actually looks really cool.
The only problem I have with it is if they're getting in our heads with this multiverse stuff, and it's starting to unravel everything you think you know, and it's starting to piss me off.
Because you thought you had it all figured out, no you don't.
No, I don't. And it's like, well, why the hell did I bother?
Well, listen, right? Everything up until Spider-Man Far From Home, there's no multiverse stuff in it. We're only getting the multiverse after Loki. So, have you really lost all that much?
No, but it's gonna make it confusing as hell going forward.
I don't think so. I mean, realistically, when has Marvel ever made it hard to follow something? As long as you've been paying attention.
Damn good job with the last few series, let me tell you.
What? With what few series?
Tell me you saw Agatha coming along.
Of course not, but that's the point of a TV show.
Okay, you didn't see Agatha coming along.
No.
Did you see the Power Broker move coming along?
Listen, okay? I understand you're talking about revelations during the TV series, but now that everything is said and done, does it make sense? That's the question you should be concerned with.
We'll see if it makes sense, because they're already talking about diminishing the Power Broker role now because of Backlash.
That's stupid. I hate people.
That's what I'm talking about, though. They're just
mad. They're just mad because Sharon Carter isn't Sharon Carter anymore.
Oh, big deal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fun.
It was fun.
Then they're gonna go and they're gonna tinker with stuff like this, and I don't know. Some fandoms are very poisonous about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope that they're treading lightly, because they might be getting into themselves into that poisonous side of fandom.
Well,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
We'll see.
they're probably already in it, if we're being completely honest. I mean, any fandom this big, there's going to be some toxic parts about it. I just hope that they don't give in to every toxic backlash that's out there, because I like the Power Broker move. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really interesting for us to have a character that we thought was completely on the side of the light be this complete other character now that everything is said and done, you know? I thought that was just crazy because they'd never done anything like that before.
No, and it was fun, and it was original, and I liked it. But
exactly.
We're talking about Disney owning Marvel, and we're talking about all the crap that Disney has done to... And some of it is justified, but they clearly don't stop at anything to try to walk the PC line.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it stopping with Marvel. I thought maybe they'd leave things alone when we found out that we were going to get a Deadpool 3, and they were going to leave it rated R, and they were just going to let bygones be bygones, but then, you hear about the Power Broker thing, and it's like, well, okay, where's the line in the sand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop it. Just leave it alone. It worked. And I feel like this is just going to throw people in a tizzy because it's a giant what if. What if things had gone differently?
Well, I mean, that's the fun thing about it. It's not going to be canon. They're not going to expand upon any of these. This is going to be an anthology series. That's it.
I wonder how long this has been in the works, because they had Chadwick's voice in there.
Either that or a really good facsimile.
Could be.
I don't know.
I feel like his voice is pretty unique, but then again, I've seen some really good examples of voice actors having to pull off some really incredibly convincing characters in the past and not know that there was a change at all.
Well, see, listen, okay? Here's something crazy that I can almost guarantee you've never noticed before. And this is coming out of the blue a little bit, but you reminded me of it because I saw something about it earlier this week. So, The Lion King, the Scars Be Prepared song, they have Jeremy Irons singing for most of it, but there is in fact in existence an animatic, a pre-production animatic, where they just kind of rough out the scene. And they used a voice actor, a Disney voice actor named Jim Cummings, who is probably best known as the voice of Pooh Bear and Tigger. But they used his voice as like the singing voice in this animatic. If you listen closely, very close to the end of the song, you can tell there's a switch from Jeremy Irons' singing voice to Jim Cummings' singing voice. And it's almost seamless. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's ridiculous how good some of these people are.
Some of them are really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When did they announce this? This is the first time hearing about this. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
I want to say they announced it when they released all of the... or when they announced like all of the Phase 4 stuff.
Oh. Okay.
So it's been in the works for a while. I don't think we've had a trailer up until now, though.
What do you think of the animation style?
It's interesting. I think that's something that'll have to grow on me a little bit. I don't know if I'm 100% on board with it yet. It looks like... I don't know. It looks like one of those early 2000s CGI cartoons that feel like half finished. Maybe that's just because it's cel shaded, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it right now. I think it's something that'll grow on me as the series goes, though. I don't think it's anything that detracts from it, but it's not something that I'm necessarily like the biggest fan of either. So
I feel like Into the Spider-Verse type of animation would have been really nice.
That would have
No,
been really
yes,
cool.
I know it's a different studio that did it, but I feel like that would have been a nice concept.
Yeah, that would have been real cool. That would have been very cool. All right. So moving on from that, we've got our next trailer for Encanto.
Mirabel! Delivery! I gave you the special since you're the only Madrigal kid with no gift. I call it the not special since, you have no gift.
Thanks?
Gift or no gift, I am just as special as the rest of my family.
Who wants more pink?
All right, guys, where do I drop the wagon?
Maybe your gift is being in denial.
I kind of figured just seeing the thumbnail for this trailer that this was going to be either a Pixar or a Disney movie, so that doesn't surprise me at all. It looks interesting. I think this is probably a wait for rental for me. I'm not as excited about the Disney animated movies as I am about the Pixar ones.
They are all too similar. I don't know what it is. I see this and I freaking think of Luca, which also kind of makes me think of Soul, which also kind of makes me think of Coco.
Mm-hmm. It mainly reminded me of Luca and Coco.
Which then kind of makes me think of Moana. Like, I don't know what it is. They're all the same. Do they not have any imagination anymore? You could literally take one of those characters from one of those movies and place them in a different movie, and beyond storyline, they'd all be interchangeable.
Pretty much.
Like, how are you supposed to remember which one is which?
That's the thing, right? Disney and Pixar hasn't made a movie with memorable characters in quite a long time. Like, Coco was good, Soul was good, Luca was good. But
did you see Luca?
I watched most of it the other day. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but
I haven't watched it at all yet.
When was the last time that they made a movie like, I don't know, Finding Nemo or Toy Story or The Incredibles, where you remember not only the plot, but you remember all of the characters.
You remember the characters. Toy Story is Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Finding Nemo is Finding Nemo. There is no confusing those two.
No.
And you're not going to confuse either one of those with The Incredibles. And you're not going to confuse any of that with WALL-E.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to confuse any of that with...
Up.
And I know you're not going to like me saying it. Up is great. Which is not going to get confused with Cars. As bad as that was,
nobody's confusing anything with Cars. Nobody's confusing Cars as being a good movie.
They were all different. Every single one of them was different.
Yes.
And I don't want to throw Soul into that with, like, God. Coco was first, so it's kind of easy to say, that was original. But now they're all getting to be the same, and it's like, oh my God, what is which? Whatever. It looks okay.
I'm not saying that we have to go back to like making movies about bugs or toys or whatever again, but like make a movie with some actual memorable characters.
And space them out better than you have, because these are literally back to back to back to back to back.
That's right. Luca came out this year, right?
Yes.
And then we've got this, which is basically it looks like Luca, but in, I guess, Colombia, because that's what the song was saying in the background.
Sure.
The plot might be different, but honestly, it looks so close to the same, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe we'll get corrected when the episode comes out. But I'm glad you feel the same way. All right.
Mr. Negative tonight.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Have I been
now to bring
about
it down
yet?
Now to bring it down even more, we're gonna watch a trailer for the most unnecessary live action remake ever. Bar none. I can almost guarantee you bar none. Clifford the Big Red Dog.
You may not believe it, but there is magic all around us. There are times it can be hard to find.
Did you bring your garbage to school?
But sometimes the magic finds us.
Look at you, Uncle Casey. So cute.
And so rad.
How big is he gonna get?
That depends, doesn't it?
On what?
On how much you love him.
I wish we were big and strong, and the world couldn't hurt us. Clifford? Uncle Casey!
Oh no, we're gonna be late for school.
About the dog? Clifford, be a good boy and drop it. Ew. Bless you.
I'm still in debate as to whether this movie needed to be made, but it does look funny. I will give it that. I don't know why we needed the Clifford the Big Red Dog live action movie, but at least it looks okay.
We didn't, but it does look funny.
I'd say I wait for a rental on this one. This actually looks pretty okay.
You don't see that every day.
I know, right?
I don't know. That might be the fastest 180 I've seen you do on a trailer before.
I mean, I don't know. It was a good trailer.
Still debating whether or not we needed it, but
oh no, I know we don't need it. I know we didn't need it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in life we don't need.
This is true.
Okay.
What would you say?
I'd watch it. Probably wait for. Well, you definitely would wait for rental, not go see in the theaters.
You're not going to be the only 26-year-old in the movie theater when Clifford comes out.
When's it come out?
September something.
Okay, yes, 26.
I was doing my math right. Okay, so we looked at the teaser trailer for this, like 3-4 months ago, but they finally dropped an actual trailer, so we're gonna watch Yeah, it was like 15 seconds long, where she was riding away in a car or something like that from a burning house.
Oh.
Yeah. It wasn't anything substantial. That's probably why you don't remember it.
Okay.
But anyway, we've got a trailer for it now. Halloween Kills.
My grandmother was right. The boogeyman was real.
It's over. We can't hurt anyone ever again.
No one told you.
Told me what?
Somebody in there?
Michael Myers is alive.
Stop! You had a knife in your stomach.
You and Allison
should not have to keep running. Evil dies tonight.
Okay. That actually looks really good. It makes me want to go and watch the 2018 haul.
One thing that I found very interesting, that they literally have, with the exception of the car, all of her scenes, Jamie Lee Curtis's scenes, are at the hospital.
Almost, yeah.
Very interesting that they left it in the trailer like that. Because I'm sure that's not how it's going to be. I could be wrong.
Probably. I mean, you're probably not far off. Like, honestly, I don't see why she would be in the hospital the entire time. Like, let's be real. She's like the star of the series.
Exactly.
So
that freaking fluorescent tube to the throat.
Oh yeah, that was something, dude. Oh my god.
Ooh. Yeah. Nope. Can't do that.
This is one. I have a dual answer. This is one that we would definitely go see if we were still doing the movie theater runs like every week or whatever. Right now, it's a wait for a rental, but I would definitely go see it if we were going to go see it.
Same. I can't go see this by myself.
Yeah, that's kind of the boat that I'm in.
I can't. I'm too damn chicken.
All right, our final trailer of the night is an actual trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Throughout my life, the 10 rings gave our family power. If you want them to be yours one day, you have to show me you are strong enough to carry them.
You are a product of all who came before you. The legacy of your family. You are your mother. And whether you like it or not, you are also your father.
I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you if they tried. Glad I was right.
You're just a criminal who murders people.
Be careful how you speak to me, boy.
I thought I could change my name. Start a new life. But I could never escape his shadow.
My son, you can't run from your past.
Ooh, September, huh? Yes. Yes. Go see it in the theaters, yes.
Wait for a rental.
Yeah? You're not as into this one? I suppose that's understandable.
I don't know why. I will see it. It's a Marvel movie. I feel obligated to see it. But
after all the time you spent, after all the time you put into it at this point.
Yes, I mean, it is what it is. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's not interesting to me. It's hard for me to get into martial arts stuff.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
It's kind of why I'm not like big into Jackie Chan and Karate Kid and those types of movies. It's like, okay. Everybody has their cup of tea, and that's not my cup of tea.
That's fair. I think it's more my cup of tea than it is yours.
Now, if we were to see this together, then I would be seeing it in the theaters. But
yeah.
Not going to happen, so.
Yeah. All right, well, that is where we're going to leave this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you happen to be listening on. If you're on YouTube listening to us, subscribe, give us a like, leave us a comment, do whatever you want to do. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6Spy16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.
This was a Nerdgasm Podcast production.
Well, that was another in a long series of regrettable life choices.
Served at nerdgasmpodcast.com.